Hi, welcome to the tutorial for the robot player. This is going to be a fast tutorial where we'll look at setting up objectives in the fleets and obstacles and then playing a round or two. Just a few activations to see how to use the robot. So the robot fleet is a Vader Simoon, okay, with Brunson spinal armaments and gunnery teams. So its robot card has been set to a preferred range of long, targeting the flagship. Its movement profile is forward facer, and it has the mover command type. Then we have two Architans with slave turrets and expert shield techs. One of them's a proxy card. That's why I have the control officer, damage control officer. And both of these ship cards are the same. They're long range. They're going to target the flagship. They're broadsiders, and they're both attacker command types. And finally, we have two Gazantes. One of them has CommsNet. The other one has boosted comms and Grint. So this first one is a CommsNet Gazanti, so it's medium range. Its target is Vader, the Vader Simoon. It has the escort movement profile and the vanilla command type. And the second Gazanti with Grint is a medium. It's targeting the flagship as well. It's got the flanker movement profile and the carrier command type, because it's going to be commanding a HAL runner, two TIE fighters, and a TIE bomber. So that's the robot fleet, okay, and an idea of how to set up the different cards. Okay, I just used a dry wipe marker on the sleeved cards that I printed and stuck in there. On the human side, we've got a CR-90 with Medine. We've got two MC-75 ordnance cruisers. We've got two flotillas, CommNet flotillas, and we've got a Lonely VCX. Okay, so with regards to the fleets, the robot player has a 2-point bid. Okay, so he's first player if he wants to, and the rules say that if the robot has the bid, he always takes first player. So these are the human second player's objectives. So we've got advanced gunnery, salvage run, and planetary ion cannon. So if we think about these as the robot, I already have as the robot gunnery team, so advanced gunnery is out of it. I'm more of a long-range fighter as the robot. I want to be able to snipe the enemy ships from long range. So salvage run is going to put dust fields in the game, which is probably not what I want. So that leaves us with planetary ion cannon. Okay, so planetary ion cannon doesn't have any specifics as far as how to set up the obstacles. It's just a standard setup. So if we look at the board, okay, I'll put the camera up a little higher to try and zoom out. Okay, we can see the board can be broken down into a number of different zones. So horizontally, it breaks up into a left flank over here, where we have a far left flank and a near left flank. And it also breaks up into a right flank, where we have a near right flank and a far right flank. Okay, and vertically, it breaks up into three zones, where we have 3 to 5 from the robot's edge, a center the length of the range ruler, and then 3 to 5 from the human player's edge. So the human is second player, so it gets to place the first obstacle. So it's I'll choose the station as the human, and I'll place it here. Now the robot goes to see the standard setup. Okay, so the first thing we do is we choose an obstacle. The robot always takes the largest remaining obstacle, which is this debris field, and we roll a die to see where it goes. Okie doke, so we got a 9 and a 4. So 9 is the far right flank and 4 is the center. Okay, so if we go to the far right flank, okay, that's going to be in here, and the center is going to be after 3, so somewhere in here. Okay, so we'll put it there. Okay, so the actual area is pretty large. So you can choose where you want to put something, or you can just chuck it in kind of randomly. Okay, as the human, I will put mine here to block the robot player's deployment if he wants to try and corner. The robot will then take the next biggest obstacle, and we'll be placing it. Okay, it's on the far left flank. And on the human side. Okay, so far left flank on the human side. So far left flank, that's this area here. And on the human side is going to be between 3 and 5. So here, we'll set that up with just here, or we can just drop it in. Okay, there you go. As the human, I will put an obstacle here. I just put that there. And the robot is going to place the last obstacle. Got an 8 and a 10. So an 8 is a far right flank again, and a 10 is from the human's edge. Okay, so lots of obstacles on the right side and from the human's edge. So we'll put it here. There. Okay, so that gives us the board state for obstacles. Next, we're going to look at ship placement and deployment. Right, we finished setting up the board with the planetary ion tokens out, and now we have to decide where to put the ships, because as first player, the robot is the first player to put a ship out on the board. So to do that, we flip over the standard setup, and we have just the rules reminders for the ships. Obviously, everything on the cards is in the document. This is just for easier reference during play. So the first thing to do is to decide which ship to deploy. So we look at this table here, and it says roll, and on a 1 to 7, we choose by working our way down the list. We take the first appropriate choice, and on an 8 to 10, we select our ship randomly by rolling the dice. So I rolled a 2, which means I work my way down the list. The first choice is 2 squadrons. I can't put 2 squadrons out because I have no ships out yet. So the next choice is the smallest ship by hull points. Okay, now that would be one of the 2 Gazantes. So I'm not sure which one to take, whether it's the Comsnet Gazanti or the Grint Gazanti. So I'll give it a 50-50. 1 to 5, it's the Comsnet. 6 to 8, 6 to 10, it's Grint. Okay, it's Grint who comes out first. I rolled a 6. So we take his Comsnet, and then to see where we place him out on the board, it's the same as an obstacle. We choose the horizontal section of the deployment zone. So we roll, and I rolled a 4, which is going to put him into the near left flank. Okay, now the near left flank, okay, this is the left flank here, so the near left flank is right here. Okay, so Grint comes out on the board. Now he's got a movement profile that is he's a flanker. So how do we deploy a flanker? It says that a flanker, okay, gets deployed distance 3 at a 45-degree angle away from the target or the most enemy ships. Okay, well, he's the first ship out on the board, so we don't know where the enemies are. So we're just going to have to give it our best guess. Okay, so we'll place him here. Well, he's a he's a flotilla, so we'll put him on the edge here. Okay, we don't want to put him right in the middle at a 45-degree angle and speed 2. All robot ships get deployed at speed 2 by default. You can shake it up a little bit by randomizing if you want, but I usually do it speed 2. Okay, then we'd place a human ship, and then we'd decide which is the second robot ship to do. So we roll the dice. Okay, this time we got a 6. So with a 6, we're still in the 1 to 7, so we work our way down the list. So now it's 2 squadrons. Okay, so 2 squadrons. So we'll take 2 TIE fighter squadrons, and we'll place them, say here, within distance 2. Okay, the placement rules for squadrons are we place them on obstacles if we can, but that debris field is too far away. So we'll place them here. Okay, within 2 of that flotilla. The human player places a ship, and now we do our third placement. Okay, and here we rolled a 10. Okay, so we're not going to work our way down the list. We're going to roll for something randomly. So we roll again, and we get the largest ship to non-flagship. Okay, so the largest ship that isn't the flagship is one of the two Architans. Okay, so I don't need to roll for these because they're both exactly the same. Okay, so where do we put it? Okay, when we put down the second ship, we have to find out if we put it in the same zone as the previous ship or a new zone. Okay, so that's right here. So 1 to 7 is the same. 1 to 7, I got a 7, so it's in the same zone as the previous ship. Okay, now its profile is a broadsider, so it wants to be distance 3, pointed 45 degrees away from its target or the most enemy ships. Okay, so if we look at the board, across the way, we've got those 75. So I'll place this fella 1 away at a 45 degree and going 2 as well. Okay, and that's how you set up the ships. You just look here Okay, and to deploy, you roll to see what you deploy. So you either work your way down the list on a 1 to 7, or in an 8 to 10, you roll something random. And then, after the first ship, you see if you deploy the next ship in the same zone as the previous ship. Okay, which means that your ships will have a tendency to stay together, but not always. Okay, and the movement profile tells you how to set up the ship in the deployment zone, its angle and distance from the edge. Okay, and that's how you set up ships. Next, we'll do a couple activations. So we finished deploying the ships, the robot ships, and everyone ended up being grouped together in the near left section. However, the last deployment was the Simoon, and there was nowhere to place the Simoon by respecting the one away rule. So I placed it here, okay, in the near right rather than the far left. It was a 50-50 chance. So the Simoon was deployed on the far left, and that is the human deployment on the other end, with the flagship, with Maydeen and the CR-90 off onto the edge. Okay, so that's the deployment. The robot is the first player, so we need to decide what it's going to do with its first activation. So on the robot turn, just on the recap, okay, the first thing we do is we roll for a ship and to see which one to activate. So the activation order, okay, so on a 1 to 7, we activate down the list, and on an 8 to 10, we do something random. So we roll the dice, we got a 5. Okay, so we work our way down the list. So the first is the best attack. There are no attacks. So the most threatened, no one's really that threatened. The objective ship, there's no objective ship in ion cannon. The strategic advisor, I don't have one on the robot side, so the smallest ship to the largest. So the smallest by hull point is either Grint or the Commsnet flotilla that are set up here. Okay. Logic would dictate that we'd move out Grint first. Okay, but we might think that that's not so logical. We might bump ourselves. Okay, so I'd go for Grint. So Grint is a carrier. Okay, if we go to his robot card, so we need to roll for his order. Okay, so he's a carrier, so we roll, and we got a 6, which is a squadron order. Okay, now, if we look at his squadrons, those are his squadrons. There's the target squadrons for the TIE fighters are going to be other squadrons, and for the TIE bomber is going to be ships by default. So not sure we can get into range, but we can certainly threaten and tie down. So we'll go ahead and move those TIE fighters in. Okay, so he gets 3 TIE fighters because he's got Grint, so he gets a token that he'll spend. Okay, and he'll activate his 3 TIE fighters. So I'll activate those guys. Okay, and they will move in to see if they can, they'll move into this part here. They'll move to their maximum range. Okay, up, they'll move like that and see if they can bother that shuttle over there. And now Grint is going to move, so he needs to move, and he's speed 2. So he's going to move to 2. So I'll do his movement and we'll be right back with the next ship. So to move Grint, okay, we've moved his fighters, and he is a flanker, so he's going to try and avoid the dangerous part of the ships in front of them, and he's going to move like that. He's just going to shimmy over a little bit, and that'll make some room. So navigating is the part where you really have to help the robot out as much as possible. Okay, so setting down the range ruler and figuring out what's best is absolutely valid. So he's moving 2. Okay, next the human ships are going to move. And then we'll activate another robot. Human player activated a flotilla which passed over a mechanical token to an engineering token to the MC-75. So now, who else? What's the next ship who's going to activate? So we got a 3. Okay, so the 3, we stay in the best choice, so still no best attack, still no most threatened, no objective ship, no strategic advisor, so smallest to largest. So it's going to be the next unactivated is that Gazanti. So that Gazanti is a Commsnet Gazanti, and it's got the escorter and vanilla command type. So rolling a dice, I get a 1, it gets a nav. So as it's a CommsNet Gazanti, it's going to pass a nav token over to its target, that is Vader. So it gives a CommsNet over to him. And as far as movement goes, based where it is, I think it should probably shimmy over, get out of the way, and it'll move here. Up at speed 2. Okay, so that's moved both Gazantis forward. Next is a human activation. So essentially, the robot will probably activate the Architans, one or the other Architans, and then the big guy, unless something else happens. So I'll go through and I'll come back in a little while and we'll do a combat activation. So it's the top of the second turn. So the different ships have activated. The Architans moved around as broadsiders to try and skirt around the dangerous part, and the Simoon moved forward as a forward facer. Okay, and on the other side, all the ships moved forward. Okay, and the fighters moved as they could. No one could actually engage anyone else. Okay, so the first thing to do, as the robot is the first player, is determine which ship is going to act. So we look at the ship activation order. We rolled a 3, which means we activate from first choice going down. So best attack, most threatened objective ship, strategic advisor, smallest ship to largest. So we definitely have a best attack because the Simoon has a shot into both of the enemy ships. Okay, so he'll take his first shot, so he will definitely activate. So first we need to see what type of order he has, okay, because he is a mover order type, and we rolled a 9. So if we look at his order type, he's a mover. A 9 is engineering. Okay, but he hasn't taken any damage, so he will take that as a token. Okay, definitely take a token, and then he will make his attacks. Now he has 6 dice because of spinal armaments and his Simon, but they have early warning system. So that means I have a 5 dice attack with Vader. So this is what I rolled. Okay, so if we look at that, so I have a blank and I have an accuracy, so I'll use Vader to reroll the blank because Vader always uses his stuff, and I get a double. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and an accuracy. Okay, so that's 5 and an accuracy. So on to the first one in order. So accuracy, targeting defense tokens. Okay, that's right here. So targeting defense tokens, scatter, we don't have one. Evade, we don't have one. So then we have brace, so he will target the brace. Okay, so that's 5 damage that I cannot brace, but I can redirect. Okay, so that was number 2. So number 2 is going to redirect his 5 damage. So to the front, so he takes, I'll redirect 2 and 3. There, up. Okay, so that's 2 and 3 there. And then for the second shot, because I do always take my shots. Okay, so that's what we rolled. So I will keep, and I will use Vader to re-roll this. Okay, I re-rolled into a blank. And I'll use a redirect for that. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3 and an accuracy. So I'll accuracy the brace, and the other MC75 takes 3 to the front as well. So he will redirect, and he'll take 1 here and 2 to the other side. Okay, so those are the 2 shots taken, okay, because he had the best attack, and now he's going to move. Now, what is he going to do with his speed? If we look at the navigation, okay, has the target already activated? The answer is no. So slow down, if doing so, would avoid or reduce being attacked by the target. Well, that would be the fact, because if I stay at speed 2, I am definitely going to be within medium range. Okay, so the Simoon is going to use his nav token, which was given to him by the Gazanti CommsNet, and he's going to slow down to speed 1 and just move forward by a simple 1. There. He's going to move to 1, and that's that. Now it would be the human turn, and then we would determine which robot ship would act. Okay, and you just follow the script. What ship does what? Okay, what order does he do, and then how does he navigate with regards to the target or his most threatened sides. So that's basically how you use the robot. You just rinse and repeat. So I hope you guys like it, and I hope this video helps you figure it out. Take care. Bye-bye.